NVIDIA just laid out its vision for the agentic era. Let's break down what was actually announced. At GTC in Taipei, Jensen Huang's message was simple. Useful AI has arrived. The shift is from generative AI to agentic AI, systems that observe, reason, plan, and act. Huang's first claim: AI is now a profit generator, not just a demo. And he backed it with the clearest data point of the keynote. Software coding is the first big agentic application. GitHub commits tell the story. In 2023, developers pushed 300 million commits. 2024, 400 million. 2025, 500 million in the first months. In the first months of 2026, NVIDIA says commits nearly tripled. Here is the economic argument Huang made. Around 30 to 40 million developers earn roughly $3 trillion in salaries a year. If their output nearly triples, that $3 trillion behaves like $9 trillion in productivity. His conclusion: AI is increasing demand for software engineers, not shrinking it. And that demand shows up as one thing: tokens. So what is an agent technically? Huang described a new computing pattern replacing the old APON-OS model. An agent is a large language model running inside a harness. The model thinks, the harness orchestrates memory, tools, and actions. It observes, reasons, plans, acts, and uses tools. Think of it as model, harness, tools and skills, and a runtime. Every company, he argued, will run this pattern. NVIDIA's moat here is its QDX libraries, about 1,000 of them. Each library is now packaged with skills an agent can read and use. Lithography, genomics, physics, optimization. Tools agents can call. NVIDIA's bet: agents will use more software tools than humans ever did. Then the headline hardware: Vera Rubin is in full production. Huang stressed Vera Rubin is not one chip, it is an entire rack-scale system. It pairs Rubin GPUs over NVLink 72 with new Vera CPUs and storage. The compute board alone packs 6 trillion transistors across 18,000 components. NVIDIA says assembling one rack now takes 5 minutes, down from 2 hours. The supply chain behind it is twice the size of the previous Grace Blackwell generation. Liquid-cooled bus bars carry over 5,000 amps, the pull of 20 electric cars. Around 1.3 million components form the third-generation MGX rack. 40,000 NVIDIA engineers worked on it. A companion chip, Grok 3 LPX, targets the lowest latency. 200 IFT6 processors span 16 trays with 40 petabytes per second of bandwidth. NVIDIA also showed the first Ethernet switch with 200 gigabit co-packaged optics. Vera Rubin ties 5 rack-scale systems together, built with 150 Taiwan partners. Huang's cost claim: NVIDIA's token cost is the lowest in the world by orders of magnitude. That claim rests on NVLink 72 and what NVIDIA calls extreme co-design. Vera Rubin, he said, was built not just for inference, but to run agents. Then the line that frames NVIDIA's whole pitch: compute is revenue. NVIDIA now positions itself as an AI infrastructure company, not just a chip maker. It pointed to the cost of a single 1 gigawatt AI factory. That cost started near $30 billion per gigawatt. It is now 50 to 60 billion, and heading toward 80 to 100 billion. NVIDIA projects 100 gigawatts of AI factories online before the decade ends. Inside a fixed power budget, it argues, throughput per watt becomes revenue per watt. Today's factories over-provision power by up to 40%. The biggest surprise was a CPU. NVIDIA built Vera, a CPU it says is designed for agents, not people. The argument: agents are impatient, living in nanoseconds, not seconds. So single-threaded latency matters more than raw core count. NVIDIA claims the highest instructions per clock in the world, 10 per clock. An internal fabric moves data at 3.6 terabytes per second. It is the first CPU on PCI Express Gen 6 with memory at 1.2 terabytes per second. NVIDIA claims 40% lower peak memory latency than x86, and 1.8 times the agentic sandbox performance of x86. On real workloads, it showed SQL running 3 times faster, and real-time stream processing for the New York Stock Exchange 6 times faster. Huang called Vera a brand new market: CPUs for agents. On software, NVIDIA announced Neutron 3 Ultra, an open model. It claims 5 times faster and 30% cheaper than top open models. It ships the model, the data, and the training script, fully open. It uses a hybrid of state-space models and mixture of experts, and a runtime to hold agents together, OpenShell. OpenShell is open source and sandboxes agents under security policies. NVIDIA says Red Hat, Canonical, and Microsoft are adopting it. The showcase use case was chip design itself. With Cadence, NVIDIA built a chip verification agent. It claims verification cycles over 40 times faster, weeks to hours, than the consumer turn, reinventing the PC. NVIDIA introduced RTX Spark, a chip built with MediaTek, a Blackwell RTX GPU with 6144 CUDA cores and 1 petaflop of AI. A 20-core Grace CPU, 128 GB of memory, 70 billion transistors. It runs a Windows platform for agents, 3 years in the making with Microsoft. Huang says it is the first real PC reinvention in 40 years. NVIDIA announced a full line, desktop, laptop, and workstation. All are 100% Windows compatible and 100% CUDA. At the top sits a DGX station for Windows. 768 GB of memory, 20 petaflops, 8 TB per second of bandwidth. Enough, NVIDIA says, to run a trillion parameter model at your desk. Adobe is bringing Photoshop and Premiere to RTX Spark, twice as fast. Finally, the physical world. NVIDIA frames robots as the next agents, where data is the hard problem. Its answer is Cosmos 3, an open foundation model for physical AI. It can perceive, simulate, and even act as a robot policy. For cars, NVIDIA announced Alpamo 2, an open self-driving model. It says its Hyperion platform covers about 80% of the world's car makers and connects to roughly 97% of mobility services. For humanoids, it unveiled the Isaac GYVT reference robot. 6 feet, 150 pounds, 31 degrees of freedom, running the new Thor computer. Same pattern everywhere: cloud, PC, car, robot. Strip away the showmanship, and 3 things were announced. 1. Vera Rubin, in full production, built to run agents. 2. Vera, a CPU rebuilt for agents instead of people. 3. An open stack of models, runtime, and tools to build agents on. The throughline. NVIDIA reframing itself from chips to AI infrastructure. Watch the claims, read the specs. That is your awesome update.